Negotiation. Well, everybody knows why it's essential. And truly, it's essential for all of these reasons. And what it does is it creates a conflict situation that creates tension. And most of us kind of feel like tension is bad. Tension is truly a wonderful thing. I had a professor who taught the philosophy of psychology. He was German. He had escaped Nazi Germany. I think he came in 1937. He had a very thick German accent, and he was talking about conflict and anxiety. Just curiously, how many people have anxiety in their lives? Fantastic. And how many people are dead? Basically, he said, conflict and anxiety are good. You see, if you don't have any conflict, or you don't have any anxiety, that simply means you're dead. Basically, what he was talking about is every time we get into conflictual situations, every time there's an anxiety that we actually feel and recognize, we have a fabulous opportunity to push through it. Wow, what a concept. Actually meeting that anxiety or meeting that conflict and recognizing what it's about, recognizing how we react to it, recognizing how we react and make the other person react or respond, and then we can start dealing with it. If it gets uncomfortable enough, wow, we will deal with it. Either that or we'll have this fight or flight issue. But most of us are adults, most of us have been in jobs, most of us have to deal with it. And it's a wonderful thing. Anxiety leads to growth. There's a thing called the ladder of inference. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of this. It's a great tool. I taught it to my kids years ago. It's basically very simple. It's where you make an assumption. And then because you made a wrong assumption, you go all the way up this ladder of inference, making bad choices and bad conclusions because you made a poor assumption. And you get up here to the top of the ladder, and you're looking way down, and you realize at some point, whoops, I really blew this one. And once you do that, once you climb that ladder, it's really hard to get down. There are ways to do it. If this were a communication class or if this were a longer class, we'd even talk about it. It's a fabulous idea and concept, but not for today. Defining expectations. I mentioned this morning. Now you can read it. You can actually take home. Expectations are a big, huge thing. You deal with a person who has very high expectations of what you're doing, and chances are you'll never satisfy them. Does anybody live with someone with high expectations? Yeah, no one wants to admit it. Who has high expectations and recognizes, well, maybe they're a little too high and unrealistic. Whoa, lots of us. It's a good thing to check out. If my expectations are not the same as the person I'm dealing with, we got a problem. And I want to know that right up at the beginning. It is the first thing I ask. So, what do you expect out of this meeting? I like agendas. I like to know what is going on. I want to know what's in their head. I will ask tons of questions. Key learning about this is, does the other side expect the moon? Well, they may. Are you going to be able to provide the moon? Well, you're not going to be able to. There's already a problem. We haven't even started yet. We got a problem. Expectations are good for right up in front. Are yours too low? Are your expectations too low? That's something we may check out too. Boom. Well, I also have some kinds of expectations and roles because here we are in different roles. And I said I was an educator. People heard me this morning. I truly believe that I cannot educate anyone, but I can give them the tools to learn. So here's my role. I want to present information in a systematic way. Boom. I can do that. I want to stimulate your thinking. I hope I can do that. I want to keep you alive, keep you awake. It's after lunch. Wow, that's a hard thing to do. I want to provide energy, keep you up, and keep your interest. Now, you have a role too, and I want to define that role. Oftentimes, whenever I work with people, I want to make sure that we have clear ideas of what the role identity is. Most of the consulting I do, most of the conflict issues I come across are because people are unclear of their roles. And then they fight over them because nobody is clear. Gee, it's so easy for an outsider to come in and define the roles for people, and they actually listen. So here's your role, to be open to new ideas and concepts. That's easy. To recognize that negotiation is a process. You will not, after an hour and a half, be a fantastic negotiator. You will be better. I guarantee it. If you follow 7 success principles, you'll be much better. And to make a commitment. And at the end of the class, we're actually going to spend a couple of minutes doing the same thing I did at the beginning of this morning. And we're going to actually have you write down some of the issues about negotiation that you want to make for goals. And write down some of the commitments that you're going to make to actually do that. It would be a terrible waste if you walked out of here and said, yeah, it was a great class. Yeah, I really learned a lot. And then 4 days later you went, yeah, where was I last week? Oh. So what I want you to do is I want you to actually write it down. People who write down their goals are 75% more likely to achieve them. Anybody know this? How many people know this? Some of you don't. Harvard study, longitudinal study. They've been taking Harvard MBAs. It's been at least 20 years, maybe even 25. They have followed MBA graduates of Harvard. What they did was they said, okay, a whole bunch of questionnaires. Did you write down a 5-year plan? Did you write down your goals? And they have tracked these people. They have found that people who write down their goals are 75% more likely to achieve them. I can tell you why. It's easy because it's not only the process of thinking, and thinking is great, but thoughts go just everywhere, gone. It's writing it down. And the people who really achieve their goals are those people who think it, write it, and then communicate it, because now they have external pressure to actually get it done. If you haven't done a 5-year plan, it's a wonderful thing. I've had written 5-year plans with both my kids. I can just see them. It's created an enormous amount of comfort level, and they're actually moving up the scale to what they wanted to achieve. A value statement is a statement, or many statements, which talk about what you add to whatever you do. And it's not only to talk to your boss or to talk to other people, but it's talking to ourselves, because we're there doing something, and chances are lots of us have expertise, and we don't even think about the expertise we have. Which in case, if you don't think about the expertise you have, chances are you diminish yourself. And certainly that's not power. If you know what value you have